Onze tweede column voor de dag. Cubista riba futuro. Als we dat horen, dan weten we het al. JOPI HART. Ook hij gaat het hebben over zijn zijde van the importance of the media in Curacao.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was asked to do this thing either in Dutch, English, or Papiamento. I prefer to do it in English, and whatever. Talking about the media can be a tricky thing to do, depending on what you say, how it is interpreted, and passed on to the consumers via newspapers, television, radio stations, Facebook, and other IT channels. Now, this opening statement is just to drive home the idea that the media have become all-intrusive, all-powerful, can make or break politicians, uplift people in distress, cause political upheavals, and may sometimes even bring out a tear for a sensitive cause. Fact is that the most important influence in our daily lives is the media. They have actually replaced the family and the social environment as the greatest educators in the general development of modern man, and can even help in overthrowing a government. Recently, Egypt, Libya, and so on. Consequently, the media have a serious responsibility towards the community because of that very influence. Acting responsibly should be written in capital letters in their code of behavior. An interesting question is in how far the media have contributed to the positive or negative development of modern man. In answering this question, one must consider the main objective of the media, which is giving information concerning the daily activities of man. In doing so, however, there are many ways in which news and information are presented. It is the very diversity in news presentation that is the lifeblood of the great many newspapers, magazines, television programs, and the intensity of continuous Facebook chatter. Let's consider our own little island with some 150,000 inhabitants. We have at least 6 dailies, 3 television companies, and an unspecified number of radio stations, all of which bring us news, opinions, reactions by the customers, all kinds of music, and an avalanche of advertisement that vie for the consumer's attention. It is not surprising that objectivity is not the central objective of all these media representatives. It is the way that news is presented and colored by the ideological, political, and social preferences that determines the acceptance by a certain group of the population. This is the case all over the world. Some media are considered to be very objective in the presentation and interpretation of news items, whereas others are extremely biased in favor of or against certain political parties or segments in the population, catering to the tastes of their followers politically, ideologically, and socially. Some are not more than messengers of a political party or social group, and they perform accordingly. It is interesting to be informed of a piece of news item by several media representatives, either here or internationally. One can't help feeling quite mixed up after having been informed of the same topic from various angles and input. It is this variety in news presentation and its interpretation that determines the choice of the consumer, who actually ensures the continuity of a particular media company. One can be for or against certain media players, but eventually one must admit that the media are the great equalizer in the diversity of the human race, in the sense that the consumer's development, whether in the reading, rationalization, interpretation, taste, social engagement, communicative skills and political or ideological orientation is predominantly determined by the media. This being the case, it is impossible for a community to be totally in agreement about a certain topic or project, unless, of course, its success determines the welfare of the whole community. And even so, the manner in which this is presented in the media may be controversial, insofar as the opinions expressed by the several media players about certain aspects of this issue are in keeping with, or slightly against, or even diametrically opposed to the project or topic, not so much by the objective rationality thereof, but rather by the way it is presented or executed, whereby all kinds of interests, hidden or otherwise, are splashed all over the media. However one looks at it, the media contribute to an enormous diversity of the community in which they operate, and in doing so, keep life interesting, especially in our multi-ethnic community with its many groups of interest. But then again, what would life be like on this crazy island of ours, united or not in its very diversity? Well, let's be serious. We do love this crazy place in spite of or because of its very diversity, which the media manage quite well to make the most of. Thank you.